This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
All right, welcome back, everyone. John Berman here. This morning, 14 babies, the latest to be rescued from the floodwaters in Texas. 11 of them from the neonatal intensive care unit. This from the hospital in Beaumont, forced to close for lack of drinking water. Those evacuations taking place all morning. In Houston, the reservoir is the major cause of concern. They are so full, officials will stage controlled releases today to relieve the pressure. But that means more water for certain parts of Houston. More than 130,000 homes have some kind of flood damage across Texas, a lot of it very severe. Across the region, Harvey is now blamed for 47 deaths. That number could rise. And now everyone watching Irma. This is a Category 3 hurricane, still far off in the Atlantic, heading west, but where, no one knows exactly. We have our reporters all over Texas right now. Let's begin with CNN's Miguel Marquez. He is at the hospital where those babies are about to be evacuated. Miguel, give us the latest.
Yeah, this should start at any moment. This is a day-long operation to move 14 different babies. 11 of them are premature here at Baptist Beaumont Hospital. The way this will work, doctors, they're going to bring in helicopters, and then one, perhaps two at a time. The babies will start being transferred to Galveston. The first one to go will be the most critically injured. Just moments ago, we saw some of the babies in the neonatal intensive care unit here at Baptist Hospital. The nurses caring for them. The staff here certainly feels like these are their babies. You know how fragile a regular baby, a normal baby is, but these premature babies are just so fragile. It is incredible to see. Some of the parents, says the doctor caring for all of them, are still stuck in the storm and in the floods and can't get here to see their babies transferred.
We are doing the best that we can and under the current conditions. The parents, some of them can be here and be able to come see their infants. Some parents are stranded. They haven't seen their infants for days. And so we're just calling them and letting them know, every couple of hours how their babies are doing, giving them updates, and reassuring them that they need to take care of themselves right now and we'll take care of their babies.
And another incredible story here. There was a woman pregnant with twins. She was airlifted from her home to the hospital here where she delivered her babies. One is perfectly fine. The other one had to go to the neonatal intensive care unit. All three of them will be transferred to Galveston today. She's in great shape, they say, though. But it is just unbelievable, the harrowing stories that you hear in these situations where this storm comes in and babies, as the doctor said, they don't keep a schedule. They come when they come, and they are still coming here. 2 babies born here in the last 24 hours. John?
Yeah, they don't keep a schedule. The understatement of the century. Miguel Marquez, we're going to keep our eye on that hospital. Those babies will be transported. Just amazing work by all those caregivers and the rescue crews who will be taking care of that. Again, we'll go back when that begins to happen. Join me now by phone is Haley Morrow of the Beaumont Police Department. Thank you so much for joining us. We were just speaking with Patrick Hamilton, the general in charge of the military response, who told us that the greatest area of concern right now in all of Texas is Beaumont, is your city, where rescues are still taking place. Give us a status report.
Well, we are on all fronts, so we've got a lot of different tactical operations going on right now. Of course, life safety, number one priority. The number of water rescues have gone down a little bit, but still getting calls on those, so we're handling that. Of course, we all know our city of over 118,000 is without running water. Our public works for our city has worked 24 hours since we lost water supply, trying to get a secondary option up and running. Right now, we are working on getting the points of distribution where we're able to get bottled water to our citizens. So we're about to issue a press release on the location of that. We had to get our assets in place, of course, before we release that information so that it was a controlled as possible environment.
Good. Bottled water coming for the residents of Texas. Also coming some pumps from the Army Corps of Engineers. 8 pumps, I'm told, to to help get that running water, the water system back online. Are they at work yet? Do you have a sense of how long that will take?
We can't give it because here, honestly, every situation that arises, we start with Plan A. When it isn't working out, we move to Plan B, and we just don't want to give out anything until we know for sure. We don't want to give false hope, and we also want to let everyone know that we have backup plans in place. We are continuously working on them, and we're doing everything we can in this situation to help our citizens and get it back to a little sense of normalcy so people aren't panicking.
7 days into this, there aren't enough letters in the alphabet to cover all the plans you've had to probably enact to keep people safe and save lives. Any numbers right now of how many people have been rescued or how many people still need to be?
The last number I got on how many was over 1,000 since the operation began.
1,000 people rescued in Beaumont. This is just one city. We've seen some of the pictures. And again, still some concern in your city. Now, I do have to ask you, you are part of a family of police officers. Everyone, it seems, who's ever met you is a police officer. Your father, your husband, your brother, sister, sister-in-law. How are you all doing? How are your homes? Are you able to do the job you need to do while taking care of your family?
Well, honestly, I don't want to spotlight just my family because there are so many first responder families just in our city. We have fathers and sons, husbands and wives that are all first responders. Over 20% of our police officers have either water damage or completely lost their homes. But these officers are still coming out here, and they are doing the work, worried about their own families, but continuing to work extremely long hours under less than ideal circumstances to do their job. And so my family's good. We'll recover. We have a great support system here. And we'd just like to ask anyone who wants to send thoughts and prayers to all the first responders across the state that are dealing with these situations. Please do that. We greatly appreciate it.
Look, I think we cannot state that number enough. In Beaumont alone, 1 out of 5 police officers and first responders, 1 out of 5 has either serious home damages or has lost their home completely. We're looking at pictures right now, before and after of Beaumont. Before it was covered with water on the left-hand side of your screen, on the right, showing that Beaumont's actually becoming more like an archipelago than a city, just a series of waterways covered there. But again, how hard is it to do your job when 1 out of 5 officers having their homes damaged or destroyed? How hard is it to do what you need to do?
Well, it's difficult. It really is. We try to constantly stay on top of our officers and make sure mental health-wise they're doing okay. We're trying to give everyone breaks and just time to decompress. I know personally for me, last night was the first night. I went to bed at 2 o'clock this morning, back up at 4:30 with an interview with you guys. And, we get to that point where all of a sudden it just hits you and you kind of got to go and handle your situation, let the tears out, let the frustration out, and you got to get back up and recover and get back to work because there are so many citizens in this city that need us. And we know that first responders in their core, it's built in them. It's a calling really to be a first responder, and the EMS, the fire, even our public works, and so many different departments have stepped up to help the city, all while dealing with their own situations at home. And it's just a true testament to how they were called to do their job, and they're going to do it no matter what situations they're going through personally.
Officer Haley Morrow, handling your own situation, handling everyone else's all at the same time. Thank you for the work that you are doing, the rest of the first responders. Special kind of people, no question about that. Haley Morrow, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, the word from Houston's mayor right now is recovery. The focus very much on cleanup, housing aid, neighborhood canvassing, with one big exception. This is part of West Houston that will keep on flooding as engineers work to take pressure off the reservoir. CNN's Ed Lavandera joins me with the latest on that. Ed.
Hi, John. Well, the Army Corps of Engineers says that it's going to take several months for those reservoir levels to balance out, and that's why we'll continue to see the floodwaters here in this neighborhood, these neighborhoods in West Houston near those reservoirs for some time. This is one of 2 main areas of concern in Houston, the other being in Northeast Houston, the Kingwood area. So we've also seen floodwaters receding in a great number of neighborhoods. So that's giving search and rescue teams the opportunity to go in there and search for any possible victims. And that is a grim task that has to be done. And we're clearly seeing the effects of that, as well as the death toll has now jumped to 47 because of Hurricane Harvey, and these teams being able to go in there, finding people who weren't able to get out of the rising floodwaters and escape in time. So that is part of that, dreadful, grim work that has to be done. The cleanup process is going to continue here, and the county officials, John, say 136,000 homes across Harris County have been, or structures have been damaged by the floodwaters. A staggering number when you consider just how much cleanup effort and work is going to take to get everything fully back to normal here in Houston. In many neighborhoods, you've already seen people going inside their homes, beginning the process of taking everything out and putting it on the front lawn, all the furniture and parts of their home that had been destroyed in these floodwaters. That work is going to continue for months and months. John?
Indeed it will. Ed Lavandera, thanks so much for being with us. I do want to tell people what they're looking at on their screen right now. These are live pictures from our affiliate KTRK. This is of some of the runoff that we're seeing right now from the floodwaters, and then some of the debris. And you become numb to this after a while, after a full week of seeing pictures like this, but it's so unusual. That's a boat. That's a boat right now that was swept away and is just stuck right now on the edge right there. And images like this, not uncommon right now in the Houston area, and just shows you how much work is still to be done there. All of this is going on, and you get the sense that people in Texas and across the coast of the United States have one eye on the weather map. Why? There is a hurricane right now in the Atlantic, a powerful hurricane that's moving. It's too early to tell where it's going to go, but that doesn't mean there isn't great concern this morning. So let's get to meteorologist Chad Myers in the Weather Center. We're talking about Irma, Chad.
That is correct, John. I don't see any computer models or any indication that this storm gets into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, that's still 7 days away before it even approaches. But the good news, if there's anything for Houston, is that this storm likely is an Atlantic storm. Now, that's bad news if you live anywhere from Florida on up to Newfoundland. But here it is, Hurricane Irma. At this time yesterday, it was a tropical storm, and then all of a sudden it went to a Category 2 hurricane. The eye was well developed, and then now Category 3, although it did lose an eye overnight, probably down to Category 2, but we're right on the edge, back and forth. Who's really splitting hairs here? Because this storm is closer to Africa than it is to the United States. It's going to take 5 days just to get to the Leeward Islands. Now, that's Wednesday of next week. So we're still talking many, many days away, 5 days just to get there. Where does it go after that? That's the big story, because it is forecast to be a 140-mile-per-hour storm when it gets right there. This is the American model, and we've taken a couple different versions of the American model and plastered them on a map to show you what we really think. This is kind of the version of the latest, I would say, the 6Z run, or the latest run that we have. Many of those runs take it to the north and to the northeast. That would be perfect. It would miss Bermuda, and it would miss the U.S. If that happens, we call that a gutter ball. If the storm does not do that, and there are still a few models that keep it farther south than that, then we possibly have a U.S. landfall in the middle or late week of next week. Now, still see, though, this is way out here. This is the DR. Here's Puerto Rico. We're still, even at that point, we're still 6 days from now. So the error in the models could be huge 6 days out. So you can't hold me to any of this like you held me to, to Harvey, which unfortunately the models got right. Unfortunately, the models got right.
You're exactly right about Harvey. Let's be clear about that. You told us what was going to happen, and it did.